is sponsored by Brunswick, proud sponsor of Team USA. By Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Radio Shack, the technology store. And by Kodacolor Gold Film. Show your true colors. Here are the top 5 qualifiers in the $200,000 Brunswick Memorial World Open. Mark Williams makes his 7th championship round appearance of the year. Ron Palumbi Jr. opened the fall tour with a win at the Kodak Invitational. Marshall Holman, if he wins today, he'll become the PBA's all-time money winner. Parker Bohm III, he's in the stepladder finals for the first time in 1988. And Mats Carlsen, the splendid Swede, he qualified first. The European superstar is now a regular on the PBA Tour. Welcome. $33,000. And the Brunswick Foundation is donating $15 per pin during the championship finals, or a total of $20,000, whichever is greater. That'll go to the big brothers and big sisters of metropolitan Chicago. So there's a lot at stake for the players, Earl, and for charity.
We're going to see some good scores today, Jay. It looks like the players are ready to go. I watched them warm up, and they were all bowling extremely well.
Palumbi with a 4-pin. This young man is 6'3" and 190 pounds and an outstanding athlete out of Erie, Pennsylvania. High game of 279 this week. And now a look at the redhead, Mark Williams, out of Beaumont, Texas. Qualified 5th with that 215.94 tournament average. And a little too high.
Mark Williams' style, as he leaves the 3-6-10 here, he'll go cross lane at the spare. His style, watch the ball enter the pins now. It hooks very, very sharply on the back end. The lanes have been hooking all week, and most of the players have had to arc the ball out well near the channel and bring it back. He'll go cross lane, try to straighten the shot out. Almost slid by it, Jay.
You know, Earl, we're talking about the charity here. Additionally, the Brunswick Corporation earlier this week contributed $7,000 to an 11-year-old Glendale Heights resident, Tom Kumar. As you look at Mark Williams, a member of the PBA for 8 years. Mark is watching today, and we wish him the very best. And we get our first strike of the match. In his career, better than $251,000 for Palumbi. He averaged 219.5 on the TV pair. And that's a little bit high, but he gets a break.
He did get a break. And we're going to take another look at Ron Palumbi's style, and now watch, a unique style here. Watch him plant the foot, no slide. He uses all that upper body strength to get the ball down the lane. He didn't like that, what you could see by the expression on his face when he let go of it, Jay. Got the big break, crossed over, tripped out the 6-10. Let's see if he can take advantage of it now, put a little pressure on Mark Williams.
Been bowling very well of late. Palumbi with 2 in a row. A nice start for him, and he's up by 10. Erie, Pennsylvania, 5 years on tour, 26 years of age. His 3rd appearance in the championship round this year. And again, he's having a little trouble on lane 22, leaves the 3-6-10. If he wins today, Williams will join Joe Berardi as the only 3-time winner on tour this year.
Same shot he had in the first frame, Jay, on the same lane. Both players having trouble with lane 22 here. We're bowling on lanes 21 and 22. Lane 22, and he did slide by it this time, Jay. Almost did that the first frame. Lane 22 hooks a great deal more than lane 21, so the players are really struggling on lane 22, keeping the ball in play. And here's another replay of that spare. Watch the ball slide right by. Mark uses a little below average ball speed, and he likes to hook the ball a lot. He'll send it out way near the channel and bring it back. A lot of revolutions.
Gets the strike over on 21. A lead for Palumbi of 22. Back with more in a moment. $33,000, the biggest prize on the fall tour for a winner.
Second's not too bad either, Jay, at 17. They all want that first prize, obviously. Mark Williams up on a strike after the open in the third frame, down by 21 pins.
He asked for a re-rack here.
Look at the big hook, way out. Back to the
he's on target there.
He is. He made a great adjustment there. Remember, in the first and third frames, he left the 3-6-10. He missed it in the third frame. This time he made a real good adjustment, moved deeper on the approach with his feet, and really sent it wide, Jay.
This is the 17th year for this major event, the 16th year here at the Northern Bowl in Glendale Heights.
That ball almost made a U-turn, Jay.
It sure did. Will my boomerang please come back?
Yes, I tell you, that's a lot of trust there. And he's been doing that all week long. This is a different format than our normal tournament. There are 3 or 4 tournaments a year that have this type of format. This is a 56-game event. The full field of 192 players bowled 24 games. The field was cut to the top 53. They bowled 8 more games of qualifying to decide who the top 24 were at that point for match play, and we're down to 5.
And Palumbi gets it down at lane 22 to hold on to that 11-pin advantage. Ron captured his first PBA championship back in '84 at the Tucson Open. This year he's won better than $66,000. We have a couple of more weeks of action ahead on the PBA Fall Tour. Next Saturday, the $150,000 Budweiser Classic at the Columbus Square Bowling Lanes. And then in December, the Bud Touring Players Championship at Taylor, Michigan. Oh, another break for Ron Palumbi. He's got to be very happy right now, up by 21. We'll be back right after this. 1-pin lead, 8th frame.
And still fighting that lane 22, as we mentioned earlier, that lane hooks quite a bit more. In other words, the pattern of the way the ball reacts, it grips a lane sooner, wants to hook a lot more, as you see a replay of that shot. And this is the 3rd or 4th time we've seen the 3-6-10, a very difficult spare. Cross lane, a lot of ball speed, and try to go straight. Perfect.
Well, he does what Williams was unable to do in the 3rd frame when he left the 3-6-10 and was open.
You get a look at the score. Ron Palumbi going at a 226 pace. Mark Williams at this point going at a 238 pace. Or 228, excuse me, 228 pace with a possibility of 258. Williams, if he strikes out, can shoot 258. Ron Palumbi only 246, and both players on this lane condition could do that.
Palumbi handling the pressure as we saw him do in Rochester very well here. Williams has just taken his last re-rack. He won earlier this year at the Fairlanes Open in Towson, Maryland, and the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And he leaves a 10-pin.
All right, now here you see the ball. You got it way wide. Remember, lane 22 is the lane that hooks the most. See the ball coming back behind the head pin. Now watch the pin go to the channel and lay there. Not quite trip the 10 out. That's the 6 pin laying in the channel. And how the fortunes in bowling changed so quickly. That one shot went from him being possible 258, now a maximum of 237 for Mark Williams. Ron Palumbi still a possible 246.
This one going right to the wire. Our first match of the day here at the Northern Bowl. Be there, they were yelling, and it was.
I think it's crucial at this point to remember that lane 22 is the most difficult of the two lanes. Obviously, you've seen the players struggle, try to keep the ball off the middle of the head pin. Lane 21, Mark Williams gets to finish on. Ron Palumbi, even though he has the strike up in the ninth for a possible score advantage, is at a disadvantage on the lane condition. He must finish on lane 22.
You ask him about his goals, he'll tell you to win this week. That was his goal.
Oh, look at here.
Disaster.
Well, now, when you look at this spare, it's very makeable.
Yes.
What he's going to try to do here is try to get the ball to slide across lane as you see a replay. Now watch the ball cut through the heart of the pins, leave the 3-6-10 and the 4-7. On the spare shot, he's going to throw the ball hard and straight down the right side, try to get the 3-pin to go over and take out the 4-7, the ball to take out the 6-10. Watch this. Almost.
Oh, good try.
Well, the important thing, Jay, was the pin count. He finishes with a score of 226. Now, if Ron Palumbi goes spare strike, I mean, if Ron Palumbi strikes out, we've got a tie.
We
exactly.
Have a three-frame roll-off.
A spare strike would be a tie.
You get the tie.
Remember, this is the toughest of the two lanes, and Ron Palumbi chose this lane to finish on. It was his decision. Here we go.
When he won that Tucson Open, he struck out to win the match. He's got his hands full here.
All right. Doesn't he handle the pressure?
This big crowd really enjoying this opening match.
They are, Jay. Now all Ron has to do now, Ron Palumbi, is keep the ball on the lane. A foul or in the channel, still have a tie. That won't happen.
Ron Palumbi is the winner of match one. He did an excellent job. You go back to Williams being open in that third frame. That was a killer for him, as it turned out. Williams with 226 and Palumbi with a score of 245. The second match is coming up as Palumbi is the winner. And we'll be back with more. Which Soper doing well these days. Bob Hanley. Mark Baker and Donnie Janello. The youngest, Wyndon at 21. Mark Roth picking up a few bucks.
Every week he picks up a few bucks. Amleto Monticelli, second best foreign player.
Rowdy Morrow, St. Louis, St. Charles, actually, across the river. Joe Berardi having a great year, and Dave Ferrari.
You see those sunglasses Ernie Schlegel had on? I like that.
Ferraro with $5,000 in the number 6 spot. It'll be Ron Palumbi going against Marshall Holman. Back with more in a minute. Holman on the right, Palumbi sitting on the left. Match 2. Holman out of Medford, Oregon. 95th career championship round appearance. In the interest of fair reporting, he has not done that well in the TV finals over the years. And a 10-pin standing.
You'll always know how Marshall is playing and how he feels by the expression on his face. He'll always let you know. He's very, very much involved, not just physically, but also emotionally every time he plays the game. As you see the pin lay in the channel, Again, Marshall, one of the more powerful rolling balls on the tour, and you'll see, look at the reaction on his face. You'll hear the crowd behind Marshall today. He's become the crowd favorite this week.
Well, he's, wherever he goes, a fellow who generates a lot of enthusiasms from the crowd, and came all the way from 90th position after 2 rounds to end up 3rd in the top 5. Palumbi with 8 strikes and that score of 245 to defeat Williams. And a 10-pin for him.
You know, what's surprises me is that all the players, even in practice, had trouble on lane 22, and yet Ron Palumbi, who had the choice of starting or finishing lanes in the first match, chose to finish on lane 22. Marshall Homan has chosen to finish on lane 22, the more difficult of the 2 lanes.
Well, there is the commissioner of the PBA Tour here from Canton, Ohio, being blocked at the moment by Ron Palumbi, Joe Antenora, and seated to the left of Antenora is our good friend Arnie Fogel. Tom Wright of the Brunswick division on the right there in the glasses, here from Muskegon, Michigan.
Yes, he did.
There's a good look at Arnie. He's head of the Brunswick Recreation Division. Well, we've seen that before from Palumbi this afternoon, and he's having a good go.
He'll definitely take this, Jay. This is a big break again. Ron has carried this type of hit all week, and most of the players that have made the telecast had to carry this hit because we mentioned the scores have been high, and when the scores are high, you don't continue to string strikes unless you carry one of those off hits someplace along the line.
Holman is on target.
The crowd is yelling juice, 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 and what they mean by that is that juice in bowling terminology means a lot of power, a lot of revolutions on the ball, a hard-hitting bowling ball, and Marshall Homan can put a lot on a bowling ball, no question.
And he can move ahead of Mark Roth if he wins this tournament today. A win would give him $1,368,207. Right now he's $24,849 short of Mark Roth. Strike for Holman there. A win would make him, incidentally, Earl, the first 3-time winner ever of this event.
Tough tournament to win, Jay, because it's a big field, a long format, 56-game event. It's very tiring for the players. They come directly from the previous tournament, start bowling immediately the next day. This tournament runs Sunday through Saturday. It's 7 days of competition. Solid 10.
Won't go. Boy. He leaves a 10 in frame 1 and now in the 3rd.
Watch the sharp break. See the rotation of the ball. Just a little behind the head pin, up and around the neck. Bad break. Good hit. Whenever the ball's behind the head pin, the chances are very good you're going to leave a corner pin.
Holman with the early lead. Mark Williams finishing 5th, picks up $6,000.
Style of Ron Palumbi, very strong, as you mentioned, Jay. He uses all that upper body strength. No slide, plants the foot, pulls the ball through. And there's a good result, huh?
You betcha. More of the action from the Brunswick Memorial World Open in just a moment.
Ron Palumbi, as you see, a shot on lane 22. Remember the trouble they've had with this lane. All through the first match, both players had trouble keeping the ball off the middle of the head pin. That looks familiar, doesn't it, folks? The 3-6-10. Look out.
Well, we saw Williams in a similar situation do that, and now Palumbi is open. And Holman, 4 in a row. Here it is, Earl.
Yes, as you see the ball slide by, and all the players try to throw the ball hard and straight at their spares. If you watched last week, Mark Roth gave us a little demonstration or a talk on how to play spares cross lane. That's what they're trying to do. You look at the score now. Ron Palumbi down by 42 points at this particular point. Marshall Holman on 4 in a row.
Same thing happened to Williams back in the 3rd frame in his loss to Palumbi. And now Palumbi's got the battle back.
Look at here.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a very big strike for Ron in the 6th frame. Now, Holman has asked for a re-rack, Earl, and that, according to my stats, is his 3rd.
That's right. The players are only allowed 3 re-racks in a given game. Marshall has used all 3, and it's only the 6th frame.
Here are the top 2 qualifiers, Carlson and Bone. You'll be seeing them in action a bit later on, but right now, we focus on Holman. He could have a problem if he wants a re-rack late because he can't have any more. That 10 won't go.
Now that's a bad break there. You saw the power of Marshall Holman's balls. Watch the balls. It enters the pins. Now watch the 5-pin. The 5-pin and the head pin. Watch them dance across the lane. Now watch. You see the release, the tremendous rotation and lift that Marshall puts in. Watch the ball hit the pins. The 5-pin go to the wall. The head pin comes across off the sideboards. Doesn't get the 10. 9 out of 10 times that'll be a strike for Marshall Holman. Let's see how he reacts to this. Now he does have a substantial lead. Fortunately for Marshall, it was not a key situation at this point.
A little wry smile from Mr. Holman, who is up by 41. Earlier, we asked Marshall what it would mean to him to become the all-time leading money winner on tour.
As far as becoming the PBA's all-time leading money winner, that's it's a goal, but I really work for just doing well in each and every week that I perform. Right now, I'm trying to be bowler of the week, not the all-time leading money winner.
That's a great outlook.
And a strike for the bowler of the week. He's up by 41. More after this. Of the Korean people and, of course, international stars here this week. And we'll take a look at some of the folks who were here. I had the privilege a week ago last Wednesday of attending the Brunswick Memorial World Open dinner honoring the gold medalists from the Seoul Olympics, and a wonderful affair it was in downtown Chicago. The Brunswick folks, Adrian Sakowicz doing a great job, and Kwon Jong-yul of South Korea, the gold medalist, and of course there's Ariane Cerdania right there on the left, the first Philippine native ever to win a gold medal in the Olympics, and she won the women's event over there. 2 wonderful folks. They were great. This is, as I said, a little different, and it's very nice to get together with these folks from all over the world, the international stars coming here. Ron Palumbi Jr. down by 41 pins in the 7th frame. He's too high. Leaves a 3-pin.
This match is very quickly getting out of hand for Ron Palumbi at this point, down by 41. He was on a strike, almost, Jay, it was almost a point of strikeout or be out of the match because Marshall Holman is throwing the ball extremely well.
218 is the best that he could roll. Ron was a center fielder on the baseball team and a fine guard on the basketball team at Mercyhurst High in Erie, PA. You see, he's got a problem right now, a big problem.
He has to get them all from this point on. As you mentioned, 218 is the maximum score Ron can shoot. Marshall Holman going at a 229 pace at this point. He's got to get them all, Jay, and hope that Marshall makes a mistake. And we've seen that happen to Marshall in the past. Marshall looks very strong today. He looks like he's really rolling the ball well. You hear the crowd reaction when Marshall gets ready to bowl. And you'll hear, if he throws the ball well, gets a strike, you'll hear him yell, juice, juice.
He is 5th among the average leaders Mark Roth and Brian Voss, 1-2. And Marshall's 6th championship round appearance of the year. He finished 5th at the Kodak Invitational in Rochester, New York. Oh, he's got that look in his eye again today, doesn't he?
Now, Marshall, he looked right back at me, Jay, and looked me in the eye, and, you know, he has that look of confidence. He's ready. He's going to be tough today. Like he said, he wants to be bowler of the week. The style of Marshall Holman, one of the few great players in the world that will release the ball while he is still sliding and get the 3/4 roll and the tremendous lift he gets on the ball.
Remarkable balance. He really has.
He's a great athlete, Jay. He really is a great athlete. Still going.
Oh, wee.
All right, what Marshall's thinking now is he's got an easy spare out. That could have been a strike. Even if the pin had fallen down when the machine touched it, it would have had to been respotted, because the machine, if it touches the pin on the way down, it would have to be respotted, and he would have shot it anyway. Marshall has really played his spares well this week. He hasn't had any problem with them. The 10-pin should be an easy spare for Marshall.
Columbia is down 50 pins and has asked for a re-rack here in the ninth. That is Columbia's first re-rack of this match. A reminder, Holman has used all of his. The 10-pin, and that's going to just about do it. Barring some kind of disaster from Holman, and I don't think, I said, Marshall not only looks very strong and confident today, he is a tremendous competitor, and Columbia knows that he has let this one get away after a 245 in game 1.
Well, Marshall is bowling on a lane condition or a surface that he really enjoys playing on. That's why he does so well here in this particular bowling center. The lane condition is the type that favors the player that likes to get a lot of side rotation on the ball, send it out and hook it back. They're going to carry the corner pins better than the players that go straight. The only player on the telecast that you can call a straight player is the leader, Mats Carlson. But Mats, even though he goes straight with the shot, he does get some side turn on the back end. Marshall loves this type of shot. He likes to send the ball out and hook it back. And if he can open up the lane like that, send it right and swing it, he's almost impossible to beat.
Well, as we watch this one finish up, we'll remind you, of course, coverage of the Kapalua International is coming up on NBC. Bob Gilder and Corey Pavin up among the leaders. Only 5 shots separating the top 7 players going into that final round out in Maui, Hawaii.
Ah, that sounds like it's going to be an exciting finish.
Well, the weather's a little different here in Chicago than it is in Maui today. Oh, Palumbi finishes with a 187. Holman is our winner. Another strike for Marshall. He put together 4 in a row earlier.
Every ball Marshall has played this game has been in the pocket. He hasn't had a bad shot, Jay. He's left 3 10-pins, and that's it.
Kidding there with Johnny Petraglia, the president-elect of the PBA.
Johnny Petraglia, as you mentioned earlier, a Hall of Famer. And he'll be the first ever on the PBA to have a second term as president.
Juice, juice, juice. He's bowling very, very well. 8 strikes in this match for Holman. See Mark Roth sitting next to Johnny Petraglia there in the left behind Jack Reichert of Brunswick. 247 for Holman. 187 for Palumbi. There's some of the cheering section rooting for Marsh for action. Holman with a 247, 187 victory over Palumbi, $7,000 for Palumbi. And Marshall ready to begin. Now he's directing traffic over there a little bit. Something's bothering him off to the left.
We have a unique setting here at the World Open that's different than most any other center we bowl in. As you see the bleachers down there actually on the approach, and that's only about 5 lanes or 20 to 30 feet from the players.
Like a baseball game, somebody went out to get themselves a little libation, I think.
And Marshall is the type of player that requires complete concentration to play well. And it especially affects Marshall more than other players. So as you can see, he's very disgusted at this point. This could affect his play, Jay.
Well, he is still bothered by the folks returning to that area over there. And hopefully we're going to be able to get underway here. But he is in no hurry to start, and he is in control.
Well, we'll see, Jay, if he's in control. Tremendous talent here. Problems with his concentration over the years on television.
I said it again. Or I will. He's in control.
Now he's directing traffic for the photographers down the lane. They have a screen set up behind, just in front of the masking units where the pins are, on the pair and a half away, and some photographers there moved a little bit.
Parker Bone III from Freehold, New Jersey.
Watch the revolutions on this one.
Wow! From the channel to a perfect hit.
This young man is one of the really classic stylists among the left-handers. He's very comfortable on television, even though he's had only a few appearances. He's done extremely well. He's bowled great scores. Doesn't let the pressure bother him. He's going to be a winner for a lot of years, Jay, this young man. Watch the style of Parker Bone III. Oh, boy is right.
I tell you, that takes your breath away when you see that thing hang right on the edge of the channel there. Well, Bone, who is having his first championship round appearance of the year, starts off in fine fashion. High game for Holman was a 299 this week. We had 3 300 games. We had a 300 game from Norbert Griesert, a non-PBA member from Germany, as we watch Holman.
The classic style of Marshall Holman, a very unique style, and you see the ball entering the pocket area, a little bit behind the head pin again, and as we mentioned earlier, if it's behind the head pin, pretty good chance you're going to leave it either the 7 or the 10 pin.
Along with Griesert, who we mentioned, Wyndon and Baker with 300 games. Holman has passed the $100,000 mark in earnings for the 8th time in his career, and that's a PBA record. Don't forget, tomorrow on NBC Sports, we've got NFL Live beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time, and lots of regional action for you. You'll want to check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Now we're seeing a little problem for Holman, just as we did for Palumbi after he had won.
As you see Marshall's ball, now watch the ball break very sharply. He knows he made a bad shot here, Jay, and got the ball way inside his target line. Remember, Marshall to score well has to trust the ball, and he didn't trust that when he went too direct at the pins. The 3-6.
Holman won this event in 77 and 79.
Parker Bone here now, Jay, with a chance to really apply the pressure to Marshall Holman. Parker has 2 strikes to start the match with a 12-pin lead up in the 3rd frame.
Time to remind you that there's $100,000 from our friends at True Value for a perfect game. Parker's sister and mother sitting there. That's Cindy, the sister on the left, Jean, the mom on the right.
And Dave Davis sitting there. He didn't look very excited, did he, Jay?
Just taking it in.
Just taking it in.
And Bone bangs them down again. 4 in a row for Bone. He has a 32-pin lead, back right at 2-pin lead over Marshall Holman. The 7 won't go. Nice run. Really nice.
All right, now the only difference between this and the first 5 shots is that he got it farther down the lane. Watch the ball way near the channel, Dave, almost in the channel. And again, the ball is behind the head pin. Remember, the other 5 shots all finished higher on the head pin. They were strikes. This one was just a little bit longer down the lane. Parker, an excellent spare shooter. No problem for him there on the 7-pin. All right, Marshall still in the match. No problem. It's early in the match. It's only the 6th frame for Marshall. He's on a double. Chance to get right back in here and make it close with a couple of strikes.
Target. 14 years on tour. The Medford Meteor, they call him, or Marsh, or Holman the Bowman. He's got a lot of nicknames and a lot of talent.
Well, he's the current bowler of the year and definitely a future Hall of Famer. No question about it.
He's down by 21. Holman in the 7th on lane 21. And a big strike for Marshall Holman. Back with more of this action after these messages from your local.
4th consecutive strike in the match. Looking, is he pumped up or not? Folks, now let me tell you, there's a guy that gets involved.
Parker Bone the 3rd, an 11-pin lead. He's bowling in the 7th. Career earnings of nearly $150,000. Wow, what happened there?
Well, that was almost like, you know, an adjustment from the lane before. We left a good solid 7-pin. The ball's a little behind the head pin. And remember, this lane hooks more than lane 21 for both the left-hander or the right-hander. As you see the ball go through the middle of the head pin, the big 4, the 4, 6, 7, 10. He'll go for just 2 pins. Try to keep the count.
First time we've seen pin action like that.
Well, he got a little soft with it, Jay. He tried to fit it a little bit, and that's, even though he's a tremendous player, he's inexperienced. And it's just a natural reaction to try to get the ball to be perfect. Leave that 7-pin, and he paid the full price.
He now finds himself down 5 pins. Sometimes, of course, our commercial breaks might have something to do with breaking their pacing, but
it does, Jay. That's a good point because, you know, our NBC exclusive final match is no commercials, and that's the reason. We want to make sure that the players who are bowling for the championship have every opportunity to do the best they can.
Well, another problem for Bone, a 3, 9, and 7-pin down there for him.
3, 7, 9, almost impossible spare. He'll get the 2 pins again. He's going for the 2 cross lane. Now, Parker has really lost it right here, Jay. He's changed speeds. He's kept the same angle on the lane as far as his approach pattern and the angle the ball is taking into the lane itself, but he's just not maintaining that same speed he had when he started the match.
He opened with 5 strikes.
And the 6th one was there for the 7-pin, but the next 2 shots got away from him. Marshall Holman now in the lead by 16 pins. Here we go. 8th frame. And Jay, he's really pumped right now. This could be just the kind of break, you might say, that Marshall Holman needs to inspire him into the championship. Parker Bone, as you mentioned, started with 5 in a row, Jay. put a lot of pressure on Marshall. Marshall came back like the true champion he is. He's leading the match now by 26 pins, only 2 frames to play. If he wins this one, he's going to really be pumped for Mats Carlsen.
And he's won over 120,000 this year. And again, I'll remind you, can become the all-time leading money winner if he wins it all today.
Look out. All right, that's a good break for Marshall. He made a major mistake. He's only missed the pocket twice in 2 games, and both times on lane 21 where he actually just let the ball get away from him. No other way to explain it. You see the ball well inside of his target line. It starts to hook it right there. It'll start to hook. It goes almost through the middle of the head pin. He got a good break leading only the 610. Easy spare for Marshall. Cross lane. Use maximum angle to cover the spare. Now Marshall's just a little guy, 5'9", 140 pounds. Watch how he runs up there and fires this ball.
Didn't like that.
Well, that would have been the lockout, Jay. If he'd have struck in the 9th frame, the match was basically over. Now, Parker Bohn is still in the match. Possible 232, down by 24 pins, 9th frame.
Well, that's the kind of scrambling action we were seeing from him earlier.
That's the power. The power of that ball as it rotates out near the channel and makes a big arc back to the pocket. Now watch the... Look at the rotation, the tremendous follow through, the deep knee bend, classic style. Watch the pins. Hit them thin, watch them spin, as Billy Whalen used to say.
He got it. Bohn will tell you that he owes much of his ability to Dave and Joanne Davis, who helped him develop into the bowler that he is today.
Watch the reaction of Parker when he sees that 8-pin fall out. Any one of those strikes, either one, might not have been strikes based on the hits, but it kept him in the match. And Marshall is sitting on the bench watching this to see how it affects him. All right, Marshall now only needs any kind of a spare to be the winner, Jay. It's basically over. Unless he does something that we've seen him do in the past, get one of those very rare big splits, as you see Parker Bohn's ball go way near the channel, actually too wide, not get back.
3-7. And Bohn, who opened with 5 strikes, has struggled since that point. 219 his total.
People ask me a lot of times, Jay, what does a bowler do in this situation? Marshall Holman needs only a spare to win this match. Well, I'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to go for the pocket. He's going to be aggressive. Because whenever you try to play safe in any sport, that's when you're looking for disaster. He'll be aggressive.
Holman never backs off. That's the way to finish it off.
No doubt there.
Marshall moves into the finals. Well, Holman will have his shot at gaining the top prize of $33,000 and becoming the PBA's all-time leading money winner. And the man who has that title at the moment, Mark Roth, is sitting here watching Holman in action.
And Jay, we have a tournament each year. It's a doubles tournament where the players can pick a partner and go out and bowl. And Marshall Holman and Mark Roth are doubles partners.
Finished 4th this year out in Vegas, didn't they?
Right.
That is a tough event. Huh?
Well, it's a tough duel, I'll tell you. Those 2 guys there are tough to beat.
Holman had a 247 in defeating Palumbi. And here he comes up with 244 to defeat Bohn by a 244-219 score. Coming up, it will be Holman against Mats Carlsen. $1,000 as the first prize and jump up on top. Holman going against Mats Carlsen. Carlsen, who qualified #1 after the firing here this week at the Northern Bowl. Carlsen from Gothenburg, Sweden. Holman to start, uninterrupted. Final match coverage, as always, here on NBC Sports Fall Bowling Tour. Marshall Holman to start the match. And that's the way to start it.
All right, now we'll see the, excuse me, the style of Mats Carlson. Completely different than the other 4 players that were on the telecast today. Watch the real free, loose arm swing from the shoulder, the long extension, and he rolls it fairly straight. Doesn't hook it nearly as much as the other players.
A strike to start things off for Carlson. A 280 high game this week. From Sweden, as we mentioned, 5 years on the tour, 31 years old. His 4th championship round appearance of '88. And Earl, a very set routine for this gentleman.
And he sticks to it, Jay. He doesn't change anything in his preset routine. He places his feet. He always touches his glasses. Sets his glasses just right. Sets his feet just right. Places the ball perfectly. And that long, fluid swing.
Oh, it looked good, but he left a 10. His wife, Annette, sitting in the gallery here.
Scared to death, Jay. It's a typical wife watching her husband perform on the fall tour. Or on the pro tour, really. Mats Carlson switching bowling balls to a hard-surfaced rubber ball to go straight through it. Make it spare.
Holman with a 247 and a 244 so far today. 8 strikes in both of those matches. He's averaged 245.5 in his victories over Palumbi and Bone. Wow, it was a little high, and it's caused him a tough problem here.
Now, this is something that happens to Marshall many times on television, and here again is a replay of that shot. Marshall a little quicker, and see how he come up at the foul line there, Jay? He actually came off his knee, didn't stay down. That makes you cut the ball short, or it doesn't give you that long follow-through. You're looking at delays the break point. The ball breaks early, goes to the middle of the head pin. The 6, 7, 10, tried to slide to 6 over, couldn't do it.
Holman with an open in the second frame, down 12 to Mats Carlson. Last year, Holman made the telecast finals 7 times without capturing a title, but he was named, as you mentioned, Earl, the '87 PBA Player of the Year, earning better than $150,000.
That one he stayed with, Jay. He stayed down, and you see the reaction of the ball. Great shot. Marshall knows what he did wrong, and he won't repeat that. The rest of the match, I expect him to be very tough. Watch the difference in his position at the foul line. He'll stay down on his knee. You won't see a hop this time. See there? Real strong through the ball. That's what makes for good shots.
Came up a little short.
Came up short, got an easy spare out of it. It was almost the dinner bucket, Jay. He left only the 2 and the 4 pins there. Now, Mats is really not loosened up yet, Jay, as you see a replay of that shot. Watch the head pin go to the wall, come back, and take out only the 7, the 8, and the 5 pin, leaving the 2-4. He's just really getting his feet wet right now, trying to get comfortable on the lanes. If Marshall lets him stay in the match through 5 frames, Mats could be tough to beat.
Well, he came here, of course, in 1982 and now is on the tour full-time. He talked about the difference.
Bowl internationally with crowds, we have just as large as crowds as you have over here. The only difference is the centers are not as large as over here. Another thing that we have different teams, and we have crowds who are following certain teams and they root for certain teams.
His English, Earl, is better than your Swedish.
It's better than my English.
He is struggling here.
He is, and as you can see by the look on his face, he's more than struggling. He's bewildered. He doesn't really know what's going on out there. He didn't practice well just before this match started. He wasn't comfortable, and he still hasn't got himself lined up to the pocket.
And he's left the 2, 4, 5, 8. You see, he bowled very well here all week. 268.5 the average on the TV pair.
Okay, Marshall Holman, let's see if he can rise to the occasion. There's a lot on the line here for Marshall. As he said, he wanted to be Bowler of the Week, but he also wants to be the PBA's all-time leading money winner.
There's Jack Reichert, the chairman, president, and CEO of Brunswick Corporation, a man who's done so much for bowling worldwide. Strike on 22 for Holman, 2 in a row. Marshall is up by 4. And Holman asking for a re-rack, his first here in the 5th frame. Uninterrupted final match coverage of this Brunswick Memorial World Open. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you are. Jay Randolph along with Earl Anthony. Next week, we look forward to seeing our friends at the Budweiser Classic, Columbus Square Bowling Lanes. They're going to have that dinner with the pros tomorrow night in Columbus. Another strike for Marshall, and he looked like a windmill when he got that one down.
Well, he's pumped up. Now, Mats Carlson let him stay in the match, even though Marshall had that open early in the match in the 2nd frame. 3 in a row now for Marshall Holman, and he's rolling.
Carlson, as always, looks unperturbed, but he's got to get it going.
Set the ball, set the glasses, that methodical style.
He needed that one. Reminder that coming up next from Maui, Hawaii, the Kapalua International, Bob Gilder and Corey Pavin and others battling for $600,000 in prize money. And lots of football action for you tomorrow on NBC Sports. Don't forget to check your local stations and the listings, times in your area.
I heard you.
And Carlson battling back.
And you know what he did there, Jay? He made an adjustment that really took some courage, because as we mentioned, the lanes are hooking. There's a lot of back end here, or the ball grips the lane on the back end and wants to move hard left. Mats went more direct to the pocket, up the speed on the ball to make it hold the line. That took courage. Here you see a replay, and watch the speed on this shot. Really gets it well down the lane. Watch the ball rotate and just grip at the last minute. 10 pins in the pit. Perfect shot.
Carlson down by 4 pins. Holman has asked for his 2nd re-rack of the match.
Remember, the players only get 3 each game.
Oh my, that looked good, didn't it?
It did, and that could have been, the pins were off spot. It could have been a lot of things. That particular shot looked excellent, Jay. As the ball enters the pins, you see a replay of Marshall Holman's release. It's always fun to watch because it's such a great one. And watch the ball come in just slightly behind headpin, but that could have very easily been a strike. Just a bad break.
Well, you see what we have as we bring you this uninterrupted live coverage of this final match. Holman and Carlson in a dogfight. way high.
It was, and most of Marshall's mistakes have been high, and as you know, he split in the second frame, leaving the 6-7-10. This shot, again, it just almost like he lost it off his hand. The ball hooked early, went through almost the middle of the head pin, and this is a toughie, Jay. Now, he's got to get the ball not only on the right side of the lane and cover the 3 and the 6 pin, but it has to have enough drive on it so it doesn't bounce off the 3 pin and leave the 9. The ball has to convert all 3 pins to cover the spare properly. Tough shot. And he chopped it.
Well,
that's disaster at this point. Mats Carlson on a double, chance to really take the lead and jump out in front of the match. He's up by 11 at this point. As you see a replay of that spare. Here we go, 7th frame on a double. And he likes it.
Don't blame him.
Yep.
$33,000 the first prize, $17,000 for second. Carlson's lead is 21. He could be, of course, the first international player to ever win this event, an event in which international players are invited to come here to participate. Four strikes in a row for Carlson.
And the handwriting is on the wall for Marshall Holman. It's down to the nitty-gritty now. 3 frames to play for Marshall. He's up in the 8th frame, down by 31 pins. He needs them all, Jay.
We've alluded to the prize money today, and there's how it stacks up. There's that 10 pin and Marshall waving goodbye.
I think it's a little premature, and I think Marshall knows it's premature. He's just getting that anger or frustration out of his system right now. Still in the match. Still a possible 213 for Marshall Holman. Mats Carlson right now going at a 220 pace, 224. Anything can happen.
Holman's career television stats, 56 and 74. This is his 95th telecast of his career. And he has lost his ability to make the big strike here in this championship match.
Watch the ball break sharply on the back end. Almost a replay of what he did in the 7th frame on the same lane, and then missed the spare. This time he converts. Mats Carlson in the driver's seat on 4 consecutive strikes, 9th frame. Chance to put the match out of reach here with 1 more strike.
Carlson,
and the championship.
Carlson with a win goes over the $250,000 mark on the tour in his career. Finished second at Hartford earlier this year.
Good shot. A solid 10.
Been a lot of those over there on lane 22.
The important thing here for Mats Carlson is he made a good shot when he needed to make it. Left for him a very easy spare. And that's really all he needs now, Jay, to win the tournament, is to stay clean, fill those frames, fill the 9th and 10th frame with spares.
See some of the international stars who are still here enjoying the match. Well, Carlson is going to bring down the $33,000 first prize and He defeats Marshall Holman.
All he has to do is keep it on the lane, Jay.
Max Carlson is the champion of this Brunswick Memorial World Open for 1988.
Little congratulatory pat on the shoulder for Marshall Holman.
And congratulations to Joe Antonora, the PBA commissioner. He's got a new extension on his contract.
He does. A vote of confidence from the PBA's executive board is 3 years with a 2-year option on the end of that, Jay. So we're going to have Joe guiding the ship.
Max Carlson, his wife Annette, watching, and Holman finishing up very quickly. Holman congratulating Carlson. So Marshall will take home $17,000 for his second place finish. Next Saturday, the Budweiser Classic at Columbus Square Bowling Palace, Columbus, Ohio, and then first Saturday in December, the Bud Touring Players Championship at Taylor Lanes. There's our champion, Sweden's Mats Carlson, back with the presentation right after this. Of Sweden has defeated Marshall Holman for this Memorial Open World title, and congratulations to you, Matt.
Thank you, Jay. It was a great tournament. I had a great time, and this took me into Firestone again, and I'm very pleased.
And $33,000 American.
That helps. That helps a lot.
And I know your wife and son Richard. I'm not sure that he knows how important this victory was to you, but he's had a good time.
Yeah, I'll promise him some candy today, so he's going to be happy.
Tom White is here, of course, head of the Brunswick division, and he's going to present that trophy, which is too heavy to lift.
Absolutely. Mats, congratulations on a great victory, and it really was a fun tournament. You survived the best in the world this week, and it was a great victory. On behalf of Brunswick, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate it.
And that is a dandy trophy. Let's bring in Arnie Fogel. Arnie, of course, who is with the Recreation Division of Brunswick, and he's got the check.
Well, congratulations to you, Matt. It's been a great week. You led most of the week. You were a real champion, and I want to tell you that it's been especially rewarding to Brunswick because we feel, partially at least, responsible for launching you in your career. Because it was in 1982 that you came to this country for the first time to bowl right in this tournament. Isn't that right?
That's right.
So I think this really closes the loop then, because you 6 years ago you started it, and now you won it. Our congratulations to you. Brunswick loved you.
All right, let's bring Earl Anthony in for a quick comment about this one. Earl, you had a feeling that Mats would get the job done today.
Well, I picked Mats between you and I to win the tournament because I thought he could keep the ball in play a little more than the other players as the lanes changed. Mats, you made a great adjustment about the fifth frame. Tell us what you did there.
I had a little problem because I had a little overreaction. If I sent it right, it hooked to the nose, and if I got it in a little bit, it went a little too light. So I made up my mind to throw it a little harder and a little straighter just to keep the ball in play more.
Well, he got the job done. There's your champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Of course, the key here, Jay, is it's 2-tie, all-tie. If Lisa strikes, that money is carried over into frame number 2.